guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Reckless speculation.
And a happy Reckless Speculation Thursday to all who celebrate. We got our guy Darren Doogie Wolfson in here from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department to talk about our favorite Minnesota sports teams here. After we talk about our favorite bank, North American Banking Company, a Minnesota-based bank since 1998. And maybe you're looking for a new contract and thus someone to help you manage those finances, right? And we'll get into an interesting situation here in just a moment. North American Banking Company can help you with the blocking and the tackling all the way up to something bigger. Maybe you're looking to buy a home, looking for help with the mortgage process, or you're just looking for a better checking and savings experience. They specialize in personal relationships and cutting-edge online tools to highlight the safety and security of your accounts. You can find out more at nabankco.com/Mackey. That's nabankco.com/Mackey. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Doogs, give us the tea. Is Josh Metellus holding in at Vikings OTAs?
Well, happy Reckless Speculation Thursday. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Josh is open-minded to a partnership with North American Banking. Yes, he would like a contract extension. So entering the final year of his deal, about to play this year, his age 27 season, he'll turn 28 in late January. So when thinking about the next couple years, perhaps even a 3-year extension, his age is 28, 29, and 30 seasons. Make no mistake about this. Josh wants to be here. In his ideal world, he is a Viking for the duration of his career. So here's what stands out. So we get access, 8 days ago. Metellus not on the field. Nowhere to be seen. We get access again on Monday. Number 44, Josh Metellus, out there, but incredibly limited. Like special teams drills, I didn't see him taking part. He was conversing with Harrison Smith, some other DBs. Normally, he would be taking part 7-on-7. Unless I missed a snap or two, did not see him out there 7-on-7. So yes, he was there, but wasn't participating a lot. He does have a workout bonus in his contract. So he's incentivized to be at OTAs, to be in Egan this time of the year. I would say this. Conversations have taken place between Drew Rosenhaus, his representation, and Rob Brzezinski of the Vikings. Going back to when the Vikings lost at the Rams, I think we had some conversations about, okay, who are some logical extension candidates? Andrew Van Ginkel, done. Oh, by the way, with Drew Rosenhaus. Josh Metellus, Josh Oliver. We did not name Jalen Nailor, or at least I did not name Jalen Nailor. I'll continue to say I believe the idea with Nailor is has a really good year this year, positions himself to hit a nice payday in March to become some team's number 2 receiver. Think about Patrick Jones. Any number of examples. Guys that play out their rookie contract, then move on, hit enough of a jackpot in free agency. There just hasn't been dialogue. Jalen changed representation in the last 12 to 16 months. Those talks just haven't gotten off the ground. With Metellus, there's been enough healthy dialogue, is my understanding. So then, Phil, the question is, what is the number? It's a really hard extension to me to figure out because is he a safety? Well, yes and no. Like he just tweeted on Thursday morning, PFF listed its top 10 safeties. And Metellus, I'm paraphrasing, but said, hey, this will change this year. So he was not listed among PFF's top 10 safeties. But is he truly a safety? I mean, all the positions he plays, how exactly do you quantify his value? Like, is it a Cam Bynum type contract? Is it more? Is it less? To me, it's a really tricky contract. Plus the impact he has on special teams. But I'm telling you, like if I had to bet, I'd like to think the two sides come to a happy medium eventually, that this is the next extension to get done, that it's not Josh Oliver. I think at this point, Josh Oliver hits unrestricted free agency next March, which my understanding is he would be okay with. He's moved around already. Sure likes it here, is banking on himself having a good year this year than being in a position to sign a third contract, maybe even back here, but not signing a contract extension like before training camp. I don't think that is happening unless things change. But right now in the moment, no movement on the Josh Oliver front. But on Josh Metellus, I think there's been enough dialogue, and Rob Brzezinski and Drew Rosenhaus have worked out enough contracts. Christian Darrisaw, Aaron Jones, I mentioned Van Ginkel, go up and down the list, Jonathan Grenard, that I'd like to think eventually this gets done. But I'm telling you, Phil, I'm struggling to come up with what the numbers look like.
So I do think that there is at least open for interpretation here, okay? So, yeah, he didn't take part. I didn't see him in 7-on-7, which is probably the most aggressive drills because it's essentially a passing camp at OTAs. He did take part in some teamwork, but that is a little bit more of a walkthrough. Like it's not full speed. And he also worked at safety some, which I found to be intriguing because to Doogie's point, he's not really a safety. He's a hybrid, which does make it tough. But I wonder too, you guys, if, and this should come to light a little bit more or become a little bit more obvious with the mandatory minicamp next week. But I wonder too if they are close enough to an extension where they are not having him, like it's not a big deal that he's not taking part in certain drills, because like if you're Josh Metellus and you think, okay, I'm not getting a contract here. First of all, I don't think that you're at a point in your career where you can just peace out completely and say, well, I'm not going to do. I mean, Danielle Hunter held in. But Danielle Hunter has, so much credibility, right, comparatively. So I just go back to last year. Byron Murphy Jr., a pretty good player who then had a great year, banked on himself, and it worked. I wonder if this is a little bit of they're so close to an extension that they're like, hey, don't risk it. It's fine. He's like, okay. So if it's not acrimonious necessarily, but it's sort of a hint of what's to come, because I don't think Josh is at a point in his life or career where he would go like, I'm not going to practice. But if there's an agreement, hey, let's just be safe here. But Dukes, you got a good point too. Is he a slot? Is he a safety? Like the last position that I think of for Josh at times is safety, because he's so rarely at a traditional safety spot.
Well, and I mean, he's told me a number of times. In fact, I think he's told all of us, I guess count me as a safety for Pro Bowl sake, for all pro sake. I need to be labeled some position. So I suppose label me a safety, but he ends up playing 9-10 different positions. So it's incredibly tough. Just knowing Josh enough. Like this is a guy who does like from the end of minicamp, like I don't know if Josh will need to be here for that extra OTA. So like for a lot of vets, next week is likely going to be it until the start of training camp. Well, guess what? Josh doesn't take any time off. There may be a vacation mixed in here or there, but this is home. Like this is a guy who does distant running. He's fasting for 8, 10, 12 hours just to work on his nutrition, his diet. The amount of work he puts in over at Training House with noted trainer Bill Welly from mid-June until the start of training camp is off the charts. Like this guy's work ethic is as good as it gets. I've seen it up close. So trust me, like there's a very, very specific reason why he wasn't participating in a lot of those drills when we were there on Monday, right? Like I guarantee deep down, of course he wants to be out there. But he's been advised, okay, it just doesn't make sense to put your body in the line whatsoever. Yeah, I don't think it's acrimonious or anything like that, Judd. Yeah, I mean, I think the two sides have enough respect for each other. There's a want. The Vikings want him. Brian Flores knows how important Josh is to what he's trying to accomplish. Josh knows how important Brian is to his professional well-being. Like, it's a perfect marriage. It really is. Now, hey, credit the Vikings for getting ahead of this thing, signing him to the contract he's currently under. Like, that's a really shrewd job by the front office. The forward thinking, knowing that Metellus was going to take an enormous step under the terms of this current deal. I mean, you can make a case for this year. He is vastly underpaid, significantly underpaid. And so I get it. It's time to work out an extension.
Yeah, you could all. I love that point you brought up because they did the same thing with Theo Jackson. We'll see if it comes to fruition. And you could argue in free agency they did it with Andrew Van Ginkel. They signed Van Ginkel a year ago or whatever it was, a year and a half ago, to a well under market value contract for what he was about to do in that defense in 2024. So that might be just another reason why you tip your cap to Kwesi and the front office. They're able to kind of see out on the horizon. You'd rather be a year early saying goodbye to players and a year early identifying which players could take a huge step in your defensive system. And they've done that with a bunch of guys.
Phil, what do you think the number is, though? Because I'm telling you, I'd like to think the two sides will hammer out an extension that Metellus is going to be here for the foreseeable future. I'm just struggling to come up with what is the number.
Yeah,
is the Cam Bynum Colts contract, is that too aggressive?
It's I think if you look at just where he plays on the field, he plays most of his snaps either in the slot or in the box. So he's kind of call him a safety or whatever, but he's kind of like a box linebacker who also can play nickel cornerback, but he's labeled as a safety. So if you're Rosenhaus and you're the Vikings, are you trying to figure out, okay, well, he's a linebacker, and the top linebackers in the NFL, the Fred Warner's, totally different type of player, but those guys who are dominating in the box are making $17, $18, $20 million a year. And then, okay, so then let's look at, I guess, there's some safeties who play some slot too. So you could look at safeties and say the top safeties are making $17, $18, $19, $20 million a year. I think both those kind of line up. I don't think he resets the market for either of those positions, but he is well within his rights to ask for and to get $15 to $18 million a year, I think. And what was Bynum? Bynum was...
do that, though. I think in the Vikings ideal world, okay, we need to pay him handsomely. 15 to 18 sounds a bit aggressive, though, if you're Brzezinski.
Bynum's 15. I mean, that's the target, right? A little over...
I think that's the max.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's
that's
in
me
his prime.
Opining. That's not me offering any sort of deep insight. The insight is there's been dialogue that I can see an extension eventually getting across the finish line. This is completely me opining on this reckless speculation Thursday that I don't know if the Vikings exceed $15 million a year.
Is Metellus and his role defensively, is this the counter to the old my tight end catches a ton of passes and it therefore should be considered a receiver more so? Because if you're talking about playing in the slot, that's become a real position of priority now. This contract has the potential at least, because it feels like there is more and more positionless football going on these days. It has the potential, Dukes, to set a precedent as well for how you approach this, because I certainly don't think of, unless you've got a safety that's otherworldly, I don't think of that as being a priority pay position. But Metellus' skill set goes so far beyond that. So it's going to at least establish a floor, I think, for how you're going to pay guys like this.
I'm with you. Then I don't exactly know how to quantify the leadership part of this, being a team captain, how beloved he is in that locker room, seeing other guys being taken care of. So if all of a sudden Josh isn't taken care of now, hey, it's not like Cam Bynum was taken care of. But with the incentive program, with all the snaps he played, he made some good money. Plus, I think everybody in the locker room knew, hey, Cam was going to get paid in March, which he did. But if Josh hits the open market, now I suppose if Josh somehow hit the open market next March, I'd like to think there'd be a pretty good market for him. Heck, with his guy Jim Harbaugh, bring him out to L.A. I would think there'd be a market, but I know how much he wants to be here. This is truly home for Josh Metellus. And the amount of work he does in the community, other things for the organization, to me, it's a no-brainer with that position flexibility that I feel comfortable paying him in that $15 million a year range for his ages 28 and 29 seasons. Then I'm sure there would be some sort of out after that second year, after his age 29 season.
Yeah, we'll get to more with Doogie here in a moment. But hello to the best frozen pizza. You know what? It's the Josh Metellus of frozen pizza. Very versatile. Many different toppings, many different ways. You could cut it into squares. You could cut it into little triangles. You could just eat it like one gigantic circle and make your way around here. Pep's Legit Pizza. Find legit pizzas in frozen sections of grocery stores near you around the Twin Cities and find out what I've been raving about for several months here. Again, Pep's Legit Pizza is the brand, and you won't regret it. The mushroom and sausage is my favorite one. So, it's that authentic at-home pizza parlor experience. Also, Dennis Kirk. So this weekend, in a couple of days, it's the second annual Minnesota Garage Build Bike Show powered by Dennis Kirk. Saturday, June 7th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Running Aces Casino. And it's open to garage builders. So if you've been working hard rebuilding or building a ride in your garage, you want to show it off, kids and families are welcome. It's free to register your ride. And there's going to be all sorts of food trucks, vendor booths, live DJ, and fun to be had. Running Aces, June 7th. That's this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. More information at denniskirk.com. If you have any other Vikings things, fire away. Otherwise, I'd love to ask if you have any just sort of early, recklessly speculative Timberwolves thoughts as we go into this crazy next 5 or 6 weeks, Doogie.
Yeah, let's get to some Wolves speculation. Let's begin with Darius Garland. Popular name, right, to be bandied about. The Cavs prematurely in their season with a thought, hey, they'd be playing tonight in game 1 of the finals. Well, they didn't even get to the Eastern Conference Finals. What are the Cleveland Cavaliers going to do? I was told by somebody directly involved on Wednesday that any thoughts of the Wolves acquiring Darius Garland, like I hate to say 0%, but
yeah,
it's an incredible long shot. Like if we're going to spend time concocting some sort of trade idea, I suppose let's focus on Kevin Durant. Now, I did say on Tuesday, Phil, when you were out, and hey, that was on me, flexibility with needing to be at Link shoot-around on Tuesday morning. So we shifted schedule. So it was Judd, Declan, and I. I brought up KD with some people in the NBA saying, hey, does Giannis need to figure out his situation first before a KD deal happens? Now, with the Suns hiring Jordan Ott, first-time head coach, we did say on Tuesday, we've been saying for weeks, it's inevitable. Kevin Durant is going to get traded. Just when does a trade happen? Well, you hear more and more. And with the draft now, 20 days away, June 25th, that there's a thought that KD is going to get traded before the draft. That with draft picks involved, it needs to happen sooner rather than later. And so do I think like the Wolves have engaged the Suns again? I do. If you want to call it reckless speculation, fine. But I do. I think there's probably a handful of other teams too, whether it's the Spurs, the Rockets, maybe some other destinations. Now, hey, I do think the Suns are willing to work with Kleiman, Kevin Durant's business manager, trying to find the exact right fit. Do I think, again, reckless speculation, do I think Kevin Durant would be open-minded to coming here to Minnesota? I do. To team with Anthony Edwards? Yeah, I do. But what exactly does that trade look like? How many other teams are involved? Does it need to be a 3-team deal? A 4-team deal? I mean, not that you can't find a 3rd or 4th team. Heck, they found a 3rd team for the cat trade, right? So you can find a 3rd and or 4th team, but it makes things a bit more complicated. So I suppose the clock is ticking, right? If we think a deal is going to happen in the next 20 days, I would imagine talks pick up in the next, 7 to 10 days. But I think KD, like if we're spending time looking at a potential trade option, and we can list some other guys, but I don't get the sense that we should spend a lot of time on Darius Garland.
But, Doogie, it is a Reckless Speculation Thursday, so I want to bring to you something Paul Pierce brought up on his show yesterday.
I heard, yeah.
Which is they were bandying about on the Fox Sports panel Giannis destinations. And Pierce finally said, I think the best place for him is not Toronto, where he is being, I guess there's interest there. It's Minnesota. So on a Reckless Speculation Thursday, putting all good common sense aside, what are your thoughts on a potential Ant-Giannis pairing at Target Center?
Well, I mean, from a storyline standpoint, sign me up. Sounds great. from a realistic standpoint, I don't see it. I don't. Milt Newton, former Wolves front office executive in that Bucks front office. I'm not sure he's, sign me up to trade our superstar to that team that let me go. Now, hey, I get it. If it was the best offer, by far the best offer, swallow your pride. You have your fingerprints on that deal. Not that Milt is the final decision maker there with the Bucks, but is highly thought of, and he's up the totem pole in that Bucks front office. But, more than anything, I don't see the fit in terms of the Bucks and Wolves matching up. Even if, okay, for Giannis, are we all in agreement? You include Jaden McDaniels?
To make the vet, because you don't have a treasure trove of picks, you have to offer them something of crazy value. So I think Jaden McDaniels would 100% have to be in the trade.
I mean, he's the one guy,
unfortunately.
right? Now, would you include Jaden McDaniels for Ja Morant if
No.
Memphis wanted to trade Ja? I don't think I would either. For Kevin Durant, no.
No.
For Giannis, yeah, I think I would include Jaden
Yeah.
McDaniels if you can get Giannis, right? If that's the final piece with other stuff, lots of other stuff, but if that's the big final piece, I think you have to include Jaden if it's Giannis. That's about it for me, though. Not for Kevin Durant, not for Ja Morant, not for any number of other possibilities. I mean, do we even know for sure that Giannis is asking out?
Well, his people allowed Shams to say he was open to exploring opportunities. That's usually the start. That's a first step.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, it feels like, at some point.
Well, I mean, everything is on the table after the Luka trade in February, right? So I'm not dismissing it. Toronto makes a lot of sense. They can put Scotty Barnes on the table. There's some others that make a little bit more sense to me. The Spurs with Devin Vassell and a boatload of draft picks, Harrison Barnes' contract to help make some money work, but a ton of picks. Now, would the Spurs offer pick 2? I don't know.
Really?
Maybe not.
I mean, could you imagine a Wemby Giannis front court for the next
I'd offer pick
3
2
to 5 years?
Just me, I'd offer
It
it.
would be wild. By the way,
With De'Aaron Fox, I mean, Fox is still there, but okay, let's look at Tim Connolly's history so far here. I mean, he inquired any number of times on De'Aaron Fox. He inquired big time on KD in February. We imagine he's doing the same about right now. This front office is like the Gerson Rosas front office. They like having the finger on the pulse of things happening around the league. I think you at least make the call. You at least inquire. I just don't know if they have all the pieces to make it work. Now, hey, if you're Milwaukee, I suppose you want to trade them to the Western Conference. Like, if offers are semi-equal, you send them west, not to the New York Knicks. Now, maybe you send them to Brooklyn if Brooklyn's offering a ton of picks plus Cam Johnson plus Nick Claxton, whatever else, right? So, Brooklyn is so far away. But if you're Giannis, do you want to go to Brooklyn? But, like, if the Knicks come calling offering Mikal Bridges plus whatever else, I don't know, you sending him to New York? To me, I think you look at a Western Conference offer before that. So, I still, though, I don't know. Feels like San Antonio and Houston are both going to do something big, especially Houston. So what is that? I mean, Houston could make a Giannis trade.
Houston's going to get Durant, and the Spurs, man, that would be wild. If you had Wemby and Giannis, just absolute 2 generational 7-footers, a kind of an NBA generation apart. I have a different question for you on the Wolves front here. We saw there's so many fun trade ideas going around. So Flagrant Howls has become hey, send us your best rooted in reality trade ideas. And this one was from Yahoo. The bones of it were essentially the Lakers need rim protection and a lob threat for Luka like they had in Dallas. And the Wolves are looking for another dynamic initiator scorer to put next to Anthony Edwards. So Yahoo concocted a trade between the Lakers and the Timberwolves where the Lakers get Rudy Gobert and like Josh Minott for like salary purposes or whatever, or just some value. And the Wolves get Austin Reeves plus some contract fillers. So you'd also get Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleba who you'd either waive or just let they come off your bench or whatever. What are your thoughts on? And I saw some other people on Wolves Twitter kind of debating this. Some people saying, "Why would you ever do this if you're the Wolves?" Other people saying, "Yes, 100%." What are your thoughts on the idea of trading Gobert for a playmaker, initiator, and in this case, Austin Reeves, hypothetically?
Tell you this much. Rudy deserves all sorts of credit for helping this team win a lot of regular season games. I continue to question what this team's ceiling is in the playoffs with Rudy Gobert playing 30-plus minutes.
Yeah.
Do I think the ceiling is higher with Austin Reeves? Probably. Now, that doesn't mean championship, but I think that the ceiling is higher. I mean, I think he fits a lot of, in my mind, what they need. Where Ant isn't the primary attacker, initiator. Yes, at times, but doesn't need to be on the ball as much, where Austin could be more on the ball, Ant playing off the ball. Those two have a USA basketball connection for whatever that's worth. I don't know if that matters a whole lot, but I think Austin and Ant could absolutely coexist. I think it could work pretty darn well. Plus, if you're throwing in Gabe Vincent, to me, championship pedigree, bench guy, like knows his role, you could sell me on Gabe Vincent helping this team as an 8th, 9th type man. But who is the center? So you're re-signing Nas. Is Nas then playing some 5? I don't know if that makes a lot of sense.
Well, you'd have your mid-level exception too. And there's some guys out there. There's 37-year-old Brooke Lopez, who's a free agent, who can still play, by the way. He's a good player.
Splash.
Clint Capella is a free agent. Who am I missing here? Steven Adams. Just if you... None of these guys are going to equal Rudy Gobert peak version in terms of like rim protection.
And the Rockets want Adams
threat,
back. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
Capella,
but there's 7-foot bodies that can play 20 minutes. And
so have you looked at the cap sheet? So where are you at money-wise if you ended up making that deal?
I'm glad you brought that up, Dukes. I don't have it ready to pop up on the screen here, but we do
I
have
figured you'd look at it. Yeah.
We do have the Timberwolves blueprint, off-season blueprint spreadsheet of glory here. And we actually ran this model on Flagrant Howls earlier in the week. And if you did that exact trade that we talked about, which is, again, and some people might say, I would never do this trade. But I do think the Wolves are exploring, how do you get another scoring threat next to Anthony Edwards that's not
100%.
Mike Conley, right? So,
yes,
you're going to give up something to get that.
Yeah.
If you did Gobert and Minot to the Lakers for Reeves, Gabe Vincent, and Maxi Kleba, you'd be right around the first apron. It depends. There's a couple bonuses I might not be accounting for, but it's like right around the first apron, but still about $11 or $12 million below the second apron. So you'd still be able to draft someone with the 17th overall pick, and if you're below that first apron, which you could find a way to be, you could still use your non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which is a $14.1 million a year slot. So you'd have some flexibility even after that.
I do think pick 17, it does make a lot of sense to draft a rim protector.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, you need a backup there. And if Gobert goes down, if Gobert is here, but he goes down for any length of time, just to have a truly serviceable backup. Now, that team option on Luka Garza, $2 million and change, that to me is an easy decision. You exercise that team option, that Luka is here, that for that money, if he's your 11th man, that's okay. If he needs to play here or there, I'm okay with that with Luka Garza. But I still think you could use some rim protection off the bench. So the more I think about pick 17, that does make a decent amount of sense, whether it's the big man from Georgia. I haven't done a whole lot of draft homework, knowing intimate knowledge about all these names. But there's a center from Georgia that might be in that range, pick 17. I don't know if Danny Wolf out of Michigan, who I don't mind, by the way, but I don't know if he's quite that player. He can do a lot of things, but I don't think rim protector with Danny Wolf. But yeah, I think you could sign me up on that.
It's a philosophical concept.
Now, if you're Rob Pelinka, if you're running the Lakers front office and you are giving up Austin Reeves, is Rudy Gobert your top target?
Yeah, maybe not, but also Austin Reeves feels a little bit like a duplication of what you have in Luka and currently LeBron. and you have nothing up front. I mean, the Wolves absolutely exposed their nothing up front. Luka has no. I mean, they're going to the finals last year in Dallas, and Luka's throwing lobs for half the game as he probes into the paint. And Rudy doesn't have the reliable hands of a Derek Lively.
Can
but
Gobert catch those? That's my question.
The lobs. You've watched the Wolf, absolutely. It's the bounce passes in traffic that he has a hard time.
I don't know if that's Rob Pelinka's first choice. If you're giving up Reeves, that's a heck of a trade chip. Can't you do better? I mean, you did have Mark Williams for Dalton Connect and some other stuff, but you were able to maintain Austin Reeves. I mean, I don't know. Do you actually revisit? Well, you probably don't revisit the Mark Williams idea, but Nick Richards. I don't know. A Nick Claxton. Can you get him out of Brooklyn?
There's some rumors there.
I don't know if Gobert is the top choice.
Yep. No, you're probably right. Dukes, we got a minute or two left here. Give us some.
For that hypothetical, I'm just telling you. I feel better about the Wolves' chances and Ant taking that next step. That's the idea with KD. That KD unearths another level of Ant. That Reeves could help in that regard.
Yeah.
I like this team ceiling better with Reeves compared to Gobert. Yeah. A couple more notes. So the Wolves draft workout on Monday. Here's the name. This hasn't been out there. Dawson Garcia, the former Gopher, worked out for the Timberwolves on Monday. Now, some people have been curious. Will he chase a 5th year of eligibility? That one season in North Carolina, he should get credit for that. And hey, go petition the NCAA. I mean, think about it. If Dawson Garcia played another year of college basketball, he can make a lot more money playing college basketball than professional basketball. But I'm told, at least right now, all focus is on starting his pro career. Whether that ends up, the Amir Coffey route, G League, I'm sure he'd happily take the Amir Coffey route. Amir's going to get paid this summer. I don't think Amir's going to be back with the Clippers, by the way, just for a side note. But if you're Dawson, I mean, heck, I'm sure, right? Like a 5th year of college, that would be very lucrative, very, very lucrative. He can make some serious money playing another year, but who knows? I mean, I don't know at the NCAA. Would he get a 5th year? I don't know, but I'm just told right now all focus is on a pro career. So, the Wolves had that draft workout on Monday. They continue some draft workouts. I know they have one on June 16th. I'm sure they have some other ones as well. I caught up with Steve Crowell, Eastview High School, former Wisconsin Badger, played 5 years for the Badgers. Heck, if you go back the last 20, 30 years, I mean, good player, like maybe top 15, top 20 of the last 20 years when talking about Wisconsin Badgers basketball players. So he has a workout today with the New Orleans Pelicans. He's also worked out for the Hornets, the Nuggets, and the Warriors. He gets it. I get it. I mean, him being drafted, probably not realistic, but go play summer league somewhere, then see what the options are. Like his good buddy Tyler Wall made good money this past year playing overseas. So for Stephen Crowell, it might be overseas. I brought up the name Daniel Oturu on Tuesday that he just signed a 7-figure deal with a team in Tel Aviv, Israel. You can make good money playing overseas, but I wanted to provide that update on local guy Stephen Crowell. He told me he's been working out with Pharrell Payne, who's now a Maryland Terrapin, and Dane Danger, who it looks like if he gets another year of college eligibility, he'll end up back in Memphis. But I would imagine those are pretty high-level workouts. Unfortunate news on Pablo Lopez that came out late last night. 8 to 12 weeks. He had been so durable, Declan, but now hamstring into this shoulder issue, just super unfortunate.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. Festa for the Festivus, though. Festivus
for the rest of us.
Festivus.
There you go.
A lot of Festus.
Yeah, almost had that.
David
one.
Festa. Did they announce that officially? He's starting today.
Not official, but he's gonna start.
According to Dex,
if you're flying him to
Dex
Sacramento,
SPN.
they're using him.
Yeah. All right, Dukes.
Okay.
Good stuff, dude. We will catch you next Tuesday. Darren Doogie Wolfson from
Sounds
the 5
good,
Eyewitness News Sports Department.
Tuesday. I like it.
All righty.
Hey, boys.
All right, boys. Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd.